East Town are looking at $100 water and sewage combined bill.
You can't, it's almost unfathomable, you can't. There's some that are paying
Can't
just
afford
$70 for one utility.
Yeah.
But you can't, and the thing is, she could fill that out, but as soon as they're gonna, first thing they're gonna want is that PER. I mean, you're not gonna get very far.
Okay, what's our step for going with you? How do we work that?
I would say, I'll just do it, we would do a paper agreement that just says that we would work on your behalf. We would help you with meetings, any meetings with SRF or rural development. We fill out the applications with you, attend a pre-planning meeting, or sometimes they do a conference call. They call in here. Normally, the state would pay for a PER is project specific though, that's what that is. Unlike an Okra planning grant that gives you options and you don't have to do anything with it. A PER, you pretty much, you're locked in. You gotta close on a loan. You don't have to, you can back off and say, hey, midway through the stream, say, you know, we don't feel uncomfortable, or we really don't have the means to do this. And that's fine, and I understand that. What we normally do, you normally can charge up to $25,000 to do these PERs. We normally carry those costs until you close, or we know that you're gonna get some grant dollars. That's how we get paid, is if you get grant dollars.
I like the sound of this already.
That's just the way that we can only do business anymore. I mean, face it, you guys don't have that
No.
25,000 to throw out, we know that.
Can you run multiple tracks? Can you run the RD and the SRF at the same time, as you can just flip that PER for both?
It suffices for both. Yeah, there's a couple things that we're
I don't understand all this
Rural
detail.
development.
I know, this is weird jargon, because we talk in a lot of
That's all I did.
acronyms now. That's what everybody uses now, RD, SRF, OKRA, IM. I understand that, so.
I guess where I'm at, I don't feel like committing
No.
anything right now. I'm interested in everybody's story.
We are.
But as far as committing,
No, and I'm not
up
asking.
here, I can't get a hold of that.
I'm not asking that for that tonight.
Yeah.
I guess I'm kind of throwing out some ideas to think about. And we can certainly help you with that. And if it comes to, let's say, an Okra grant or a planning grant, you have to go through what is called procurement. And you have to send out RFQs, or requests for qualifications. You can send them to whoever you want, any engineering firm. The grant administrator will tell you this, and they normally run this for you, and they do this work for you. And then if you want to interview, if you get more than, let's say, 3 firms, or you get 3 or more firms that submit to you their qualifications, you will have to interview. If you only get 1, you don't have to. You can choose whoever you want. But that's how that works, and that's from the planning grant side, because that's from the state dollars that's handed down from the feds. Okay, that's a requirement.
And the planning grant does no more for you than just that planning only, right?
Planning only.
And all of
So the engineering firm gets all that money.
Grant administrator gets paid out of part of it.
Yeah,
That's where the 10%
Sounds
match
good.
comes from.
We're still where we were, except we've got a good plan, right?
You have a good plan, but then what normally has to happen is you have to couple that. Let's say you want to go after do the construction of it, whatever came out of that study, and gave you an option of, let's say, doing just the wells. Okay, let's say you're just doing the wells. Okay, it's going to cost, let's say, $800,000 just doing this out. Well, a construction grant from Odon is only $500,000. Where are you going to come up with the other $300,000? You might have to borrow that, whether that's from a local bank or it's from one of these state agencies, if it's RB or SRF. So normally what happens is you still have to do that PER. They're going to make you do that, and they're going to have that. They work in conjunction with each other. They realize that, well, this town's going to need a grant, but they're also going to need to borrow some money from us, and we can do better than a local bank can. Maybe 2% or 1.5% to 2% interest rate right now, which you get locked into. It doesn't go anywhere more than that, doesn't increase.
Or do a bond issue, go to bond bank, that's the other thing. I mean, these packages get put together, you usually end up with an accountant, an engineer, and a lawyer, who are all working their butt off trying to get this done, because they're all working on accountants. They all are getting paid when your money's come through. And you've gotta have that preliminary engineering report, just to figure out what your scope is and what you're gonna do. And then once those get approved, you get some funding, get your planning done, and then you can get your construction money from those variety of sources. And all the professionals involved, the engineer and the lawyer and the attorneys all know that that's what it's gonna take, so they're all incented to get that done.
Yeah, so it has to be a lot of cooperation, a lot of communication, and work is, because everybody, it's all predicated upon
Right.
another. Whoever has to do this portion, whoever has to do this and this, and they all have to meet the state requirements as to when to review, due diligence, bond counsel, as she was saying, your local
Right.
attorney.
And they do, and it works. It just takes a while, but you usually run those tracks kind of simultaneously so that you can get some stuff moving. It may take a year, 2 years, 3 years.
Can you do us a favor?
And I know what you're gonna ask.
What's that?
I'm gonna write everything down. I'm gonna break
A
this
point
down.
of paper
step
type.
by step.
That's all we gotta do, and that would help me a great
And I will break down the acronyms, what they stand for, okay? And I'll show you a cycle of how this all works from a timeline standpoint.
Big soup.
And I'll give you an example of a project that we're doing and show you where we're at.
I just, I see Odon that they just do what folks tell them to do, and they're racking up unbelievable sewer utility rates.
Elnora?
Yeah, because somebody said this is the way you gotta do it, I'm thinking,
I know about it.
why do we have to do that?
Well, they got. I don't talk about the competition.
Everybody gets a piece of it, and you're sitting there with a bill, you know?
Yeah. Well, that, as I
And
said.
no offense to professionals.
I understand. No, I'm not mistaken.
But there's so much folks can afford to pay.
You don't pay us until there's grant dollars and you're satisfied with the number, what that bottom line is. And if that bottom line says it's something palatable,
I
that
do,
you guys
it's
can
fine.
swallow, then we go forward with the project. And then
Give us
we
some-
get paid.
An outline and
Tell us what we gotta do, we need it.
Yeah.
We need the grant money, everything we can get, because if we don't, we're not gonna have an infrastructure.
Sewer, water,
Sewer and water, yeah. We're gonna
That's all you need.
Ben?
Tom, maybe this guy can explain how the bond issue is taken care of, by who, by the, does the tax rate go up?
no.
Cover the bond?
Utility rate goes up.
Or how does the bond get paid, though? The money that you
Utility
borrow
rate,
out?
out of revenue.
Yeah.
Utility rate, revenue
Pay that
primarily,
Okay,
water.
so,
No tax money involved.
how much rate, what is the rate increase on the average? Is there such a thing?
Any average.
Well, that just depends on where you're at right now. Depends on your, the big factor in it is your population.
Right.
Oh,
Now,
that's
for
true.
Indianapolis-
But we're never gonna grow without this.
That's correct.
And once we grow, then we can pull in, increasing revenue.
That's absolutely correct.
That's one thing to say that, well, we tried to get a trash haul deal here for $12 a month, and it's like they wanna scalp you, you know?
Yeah. The trash is,
And try to do what's right, and the right thing to do is to update our infrastructure, exactly right.
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 The thing to do is raise your rates every year.
Somebody
I've
can
done
die.
talked to people for
Yeah.
years and years trying to do it, and they won't do it, but then he's like, now we're stuck, now we gotta do
Yes, sir.
something.
can I ask this question, is it fair, and you can tell me now, what are your rates right now? What is your rate for water, 4,000 gallons?
3 for water, 19.
19 for 4,000?
No,
No, 3,000.
For 3,000.
Three?
So then after whatever 1,000 gallons after that, was it $1 or something?
I'm sorry, I can pull the rate for this. I don't know off the top of my head, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I can pull that up and show you, but
Because you'll have to have certain thresholds, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, I'm not gonna promise you a rosy garden, but the last that you're at.
Yeah.
Too low.
Yeah.
But within that though comes the fact that, you know, they know that they look at your population, the need of the project, and how badly you need grant dollars, and that's what you do.
Right now, there's a study by SIDC that shows that Northern Davis County is gonna grow by about 20% over the next 30 years. Okay. And you look at that and you say, okay, I-69 sitting here, the fence out here, we're sitting right in the middle. Yeah, it's gonna happen. Indiana Rail building this thing here, and you realize you don't know the site like that except in Chicago, and we've got one of those in Indiana. It's gonna happen, and right now, if all of a sudden somebody came in and said, well, I wanna build an entire housing project right over here for resale,
You're not
we
ready.
could not give them sewer and water.
Sometimes, and then you don't wanna get into the, and also,
Moratorium issues.
and you don't wanna get into the fact that if you do have a developer and they say, well, we'll come and do do this, and, but, you know, blah, blah, blah. But you guys are stuck paying the.
Yes, sir.
You also have to be guarded, and that, you probably know about that, about capacity fees at your treatment plants, because doing improvements you want, that you do on your own, okay, your citizens will be responsible for, but if a developer does come in and they wanna connect, and then let's say they've got 20 houses, 30 houses, and they wanna put them in there, you also could be guarded with a capacity fee, which is they're gonna take up so much of your plant, or use so much of your water that you could do those. Kind of a compact fee, sometimes they call it that, but that's separate of the tapping fee, so there's different things.
Sir, give us point paper.
I'll do that, you have the business cards there,
Yes, sir.
cell phones on there, office numbers.
You're out of Indianapolis yourself?
Indianapolis, yeah. Yes.
You know that information or?
Do you have a card or?
So let me just write it here.
Yeah, I'll send applications, I'll send, and you can help, you can talk with them, converse, and then I'll send you stuff on the grant stuff, and then if you wanna go do a planning grant first, talk with Civic, I don't know if it's Matt or Sword or Sword or Jones.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, great.
So, Lou,
Thank you
that's
for
the one
coming
that's
in.
been about 9 years ago, you may not
Your
remember
name?
that, it's Rita Baldwin.
Rita Baldwin. You know, that came back up again. Got a
Memorial.
call from Susan Craig, was she the grant?
Sounds familiar, yeah.
Cersei, or Serpic, or whatever. She called back, she says, what would it cost, because they're talking about it again.
Yeah, it was all those dollars and everything going up and down those hills, it was like,
That
oh
was
my
too
gosh,
tough.
it's gonna be astronomical, but we were trying.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your coming in.
Hey, thanks for letting me have the
Thank-
floor.
thank you,
All the
sir.
time. I know you guys gonna let us.
Yeah.
Okay, now get out. Now get out.
Council,
I'm not coming back.
I would like to let you know that, unbonded assessors will be here on the 23rd, which is Wednesday, to begin the rate study.
Okay. All right, new
Tom?
business.
Tom,
Sir.
I just went through that down at Oakland, what he's talking about, through that wastewater deal. Preliminary studies, whenever they do, you have to come up with that money.
That's what
And I'll tell you exactly what they'll tell you, what she said, he ain't gonna promise you a rose garden. Your biggest problem is gonna be your rate structure.
That's
And
what I
if you're- and that's all depends on what kind of grant money you get,
Yeah.
is what rates are in change. So it's, you're gonna get hammered either way you
Well,
go.
we're gonna get hammered anyway.
Yeah,
You know, if the town of Odon wants to grow and be in existence,
you have no option.
we've got no option. We're gonna have to go with
If
it long term.
Omaha comes up and says, which they've already started, and comes up and says they need a rate increase, as long as they go ahead and put it in place,
Yeah.
and they don't ignore it, then that will not be disfavorable with them, with when they're being reviewed
Exactly right.
by all these, by the lending companies.
See, they did it before, and the board wouldn't vote on it, probably
Well, that's
because of all the
right.
pressure.
And that's where,
That's what I mean,
And
if you don't
now-
follow their advice.
now,
And now, right now,
You're behind the curve.
you and
You're
every,
behind the curve.
you and a lot of other towns.
yeah.
I think that's-
Well, no, see, they approved the rate structure, that's the same thing 7 years ago.
But they never implemented it.
The board did not pass it because of the pressures of the town.
Right. I mean, you had to have small increments over a long period of time to get where you
Yeah.
need to be.
Nobody will do it.
Nobody did.
No board likes to be the one.
I don't
to
envy anybody that takes that big bear on.
No, but now,
Someone could die.
But they never implemented it.
Or get a shoe right in the middle of the head.
But it was never implemented by the clerk treasurer.
Well, that's what I think is that all three of them signed it, the clerk signed it, 1.25% every year at the beginning of January, and that's the reason why I brought it to the attention. I said, hey, I can tell by the rate study, or the fees that it's not been done. Why is this on the books if